That clapping sounded like it was in a tunnel that time. All right, you're listening to Geekvice, the only podcast that has the audience in a tunnel, apparently.
Welcome, everybody, to Geekvice, episode 140, proving any vice with enough geek can become a virtue. My name is Morph. That man is Kip. Good evening, Kip.
Good evening.
We're going to start this episode off with apologizing for any technical difficulties we run into. Kip is on remote in Oklahoma City, and I am coming down with some sort of crud. All my kids have had this. My wife's had this, and we needed to get the show in tonight because if my sickness follows along with my wife's here in a couple days, I'm not going to have a voice, so I won't be able to do a show. So hopefully
we'll do one with sign language.
Yeah, I don't know sign language, so that's really not going to work out so well. But I know nobody wants to listen to me talk anyway, so maybe it's a good thing.
You never know.
Yeah, some kind of housekeeping stuff I want to throw out there first. One, a good friend of the show, Red Crow Brewery, is having a big event this weekend, which is Labor Day weekend, on Sunday, the Sunday before Labor Day. They're having a big growler sale. So I don't know anything. Oh, actually, I guess it's new growlers and refills will be $1 off. And you can stop in and grab yourself a growler. I think this is a great idea. I love their beers. So my wife and I are already planning on stopping by there on Sunday at some point and grabbing us some growlers and playing some board games with the kids there, or some bean bags or something along those lines. Just hanging out, enjoying the nice view, and having a few drinks. So
sounds pretty good. In fact, I enjoyed the fact that I got to write for sale in the notes.
So yeah, they're not an official sponsor, but we really like Red Crow. They hosted us. They were kind enough to host us for last year for Tabletop Day. So just as a thanks to them, I want to throw a shout out to them and say go visit them. They're open from noon to 7 p.m. on that Sunday. They have other hours too, so you could check out their Facebook page. I believe it's facebook.com/Red Crow Brewery and or Red Crow Brew possibly. But they're good stuff. Go check them out and go get yourselves a growler at a discounted rate.
That is probably the greatest word ever, growler.
Growler, yeah, it's my favorite.
Over it.
It's one of my favorites, and it also, for those of you that don't know, it looks like a growler is basically like a moonshine jug that they put beer in. And they can actually pour the growler there for you, and then they can actually tape it off so that you can transport it home and not get in trouble. That's the only way to really buy their beer and be able to take it out of the brewery. So get yourself a growler, and then you can enjoy some of it at home. So it's really good. I like it. You can do that at a lot of breweries too. So if there's any brewery that you really like, then all you got to do, most of them will sell the growlers there. But even if they don't sell them there, you could buy a growler from another brewery, empty it out, wash it out, and take it to any other brewery, and they'll fill it up for a small fee. So
sweet.
So, and the other thing I want to throw out there is we got 21 days to go on the Pawns and Pints Kickstarter. They have reached their pledge of 10,000. They are working on their stretch goal. They're at just under 15,000. They need 15,000 for their next stretch goal, I believe. That's what it is. Yes.
Oh man, it's your story.
15,000. I had to scroll down. That's one downside to Kickstarter. It's such a long page. There's no quick link to jump to the stretch goals. 15,000 is their next stretch goal. They are less than $300 away, $290 away from reaching that stretch goal. and then they're on for bigger and better things. So 21 days left. Go, if you have not backed them, go back them. Check out their Kickstarter page. You can get there. The easiest way to get there is pawnsandpints.com. We'll direct you directly to the Kickstarter page. So,
yeah, and it was a lot of fun interviewing Ed last week. I'm really hoping they get most of their stretch goals, because that would just be really cool. And we're going to hold him to his word and do some sort of remote there in the future.
Yes, we will, because that just sounds like way too much fun not to do. So, and then the last thing I want to throw out there, if you haven't heard, if you haven't been following our Facebook page, then I don't know what you've been doing. But we have joined a podcasting network with the Goad Kicker, the Underground Podcast, Falcon Punch Thunder Dads. What's Eddie's other one? I always screw it up. Daydream Instruction Manual. Yeah. So go check those guys out. You can check us out on Facebook right now, which is facebook.com/thepodcastarcade. Make sure you put "the" at the beginning of it. And Eddie is working on the website. We're getting really close to getting that going up, but that you'll be able to find that at thepodcastarcade.com. So it'll be a nice little TPA. How about that? How about that for initials?
Works for me. I like initials like that. I mean, Daydream Instructional Manual, when we talk with Eddie, it's DIM. So why not TPA for the Podcast Arcade?
I do like that. So, go ahead and put that web address into your favorites. Have it stored there. When it goes live, follow us on our Facebook page. We will mention it there. So, looking forward.
I have some breaking news to share.
Uh-oh.
I am sitting on an electric couch. And let me show you what I mean by that. This will crack you up. This isn't easy to do.
No, it's not. Holy crap, there's
a plug-in in the couch.
Oh, now that's kind of cool. So they got a couch wired for electricity.
It has a USB port and 2 electrical plug-ins.
Oh, no, that's kind of cool. I need one of those.
Yeah. Well, when I first got here, I saw the little door on the arm of the couch. It's like, wouldn't that be awesome if that was a place I could plug in my laptop? So I opened up the door and
there was
places to plug in my laptop.
There was a big shining light, like spotlight directed to it. You heard angels singing, and Kip was in heaven.
All of it, yes. So I don't know. It could be a good thing, or it could go horribly wrong if you spill a drink. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Which way this is going to go.
Well, yeah, you'd want to make sure that there was some sort of insulation there that could not catch fire when if there was ever a short.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't want to be electrocuted in the hotel couch.
Yeah.
That's rule 1.
You do not want to burst into flames in the hotel couch. Rule 2.
Yeah, a lot of weird things happen in Oklahoma City. Being electrocuted on your couch, why not? It could just happen.
Yeah. Oh, God knows in Oklahoma City. I do have some friends of mine that live down that way, so I can't speak ill of Oklahoma City. There can be a lot of fun down there, but yeah, you just don't want to burst into flames. And that's funny because I've never seen those at any of the other hotels that I've stayed in. Of course, I travel a whole bunch and spend a lot of time in hotels, but
yeah,
I've designed a few of them, and I don't ever remember that being in the specs. So I think that's kind of cool.
Well, this hotel is a Marriott.
Oh,
it's called the Renaissance Waterford of Shishi. It's actually way too nice for me to be staying in it. I'm surprised they haven't thrown me out yet.
Yeah.
It's one of those where you walk in, you check out, they call you Mr. Golden, or, name constantly, and it's like, all right, that's nice, but stop it.
No, that's not me. That's my dad.
Yeah. But the fun part was, after a 5-hour drive getting here, stopping at the office, unloading all my stuff, doing all this crap, I was just beat. So it's like, I'm not going anywhere to find something to eat. I'm just going to eat downstairs in the little restaurant/bar they have.
Yeah.
And the fun is the bar part was completely taken. There was no available seating, so they sat me at a table. And where I sat, I could see the bar clearly. And now I'm getting to the fun part. The fun part is watching business travelers hit on each other at the bar. You can see the wedding rings. You can tell they're not together, but they're going pretty strong to the hoop. It was funny. But I also saw the opposite, and there was this nice-looking blonde lady in a skirt, looked like a business traveler, sitting there talking to this guy, and I think she talked too much because every time I looked up, the guy was a little bit further away from her. And eventually, he just got up and walked away. And it's like, wow. He is completely into his wife, and there's no way he would ever mess around. Or this woman was like the most annoying talker in the world because where else around the bar, the guys were going pretty strong to all the female business travelers, but this one, I guess she turns them away.
Well, that's got to be entertainment for a Monday evening, Monday dinner time when you're sitting by yourself at a hotel bar.
Absolutely. I had my Basil Hayden's on the rocks. I got catfish and shrimp dinner, and I was kicking back I was watching the MLB channel and the Cheaters Square at the bar. It was entertaining.
Gotta love that. Well, so other than those stuff, you've got in here that you've been watching this other TV show that I've never even heard of. So what is this show, and what's it called, and what is it about?
None of your business. No, it's called Misfits, and it's actually an older show. I think the first season was 2009, and I think it went for 4 or 5 seasons, so it's no longer on the air. But it's a British television show, and it's on Hulu. This is how we found it. It's on Hulu, and it is these 5. Yeah, I think 5, we'll call them early 20s ne'er-do-wells who are doing community service. And they get this weird storm comes up that's dropping like hail the size of bowling balls by lightning. And now they have powers.
Oh, jeez.
But their powers are not, some of them are not great. Some of them are almost like a curse.
Okay.
Some of them are great. Some of them you're like, oh, that'd be awesome. The only person that I recognized right off the bat in the show is the guy who played the character Simon, and he's got a weird name, and I'll butcher it. His first name is like Ewan or something like that, like Iwohn or something like that. And he played Ramsay Bolton in Game of Thrones. So,
okay.
if you watch Game of Thrones, you'd be like, oh, it's that guy. Everybody hates that guy. But he plays like this total weirdo, not socialized whatsoever. And, of course, he gets the power of being invisible. So it kind of works perfectly with his personality. He thinks he's invisible anyway. He becomes really invisible. Other powers that are given, like this one girl who's kind of slutty. If you touch her, you just can't control yourself. You just want to have sex with her. But to me, that's the one that's kind of a curse. So she can't really touch anybody. One girl can read everybody's thoughts. One guy can reverse time, which has come in handy a lot in this show.
Yeah.
And one guy ends up being immortal. Since they're ne'er-do-wells, they really don't like instantaneously become superheroes or anything like that. They've actually done some stupid ass things and killed some people, and it's just kind of funny how they're given this gift, and everybody, you look at it and think, man, I would, do superhero things or whatever, and they've just kind of basically effed it all up. Every chance to make a mistake using their powers, they've pretty much done it. And so I think it's an interesting take on getting superpowers. The fact that here's these kids, they have no idea what to do with it. They're not all that super smart to begin with. It's funny, the one girl is always wearing like skirts and short shorts, and it's funny to see her low jack on her ankle, things like that. I don't know. It's just a lot of fun. It's British, like I said. So every now and then somebody will say something. You're like, I have no idea what this person just said.
Right.
But for the most part, you can tell what they're saying, and you can pick it up after the fact, like, oh, okay, that's what she said. But yeah, just check it out on Hulu. It's called Misfits. You'll be able to tell it because it shows all these people wearing orange jumpsuits in the little picture.
Yeah.
That's their community service jumpsuit. And like I said, it's just an interesting take on, I've got a superpower and I don't know what to do with it. In fact, I don't even think I really want it. And it just gets them in trouble and gets them out of trouble, gets them back into trouble. It's just funny to watch. I laugh quite a bit. There's one character who is just a jackass, and he can't stop talking, and he'll do anything. He has no shame, and so he's really good comic relief for the show. I can't say too much without just giving everything away, so go to Hulu, right. Watch Misfits. It's a lot of fun. It's an older, like I said, I think its first season was 2009, something like that. So
yep, I've got the IMDb here pulled up for it. It got 8.3 stars out of 10 on IMDb and has done pretty well on some of the others. Rotten Tomatoes 83%. It has 5 seasons there, and you've got about 38 episodes in the 5 seasons. Runs from 2009 to 2013, so it looks like it's completed, all done type story. So that's perfect for those that aren't looking for something that's a continual thing they need to keep up with. They can just watch it and be done with it. You can also find them on Amazon Instant Video. You do have to buy them on there if you want to watch them. So
yeah, I guess that's an option if you don't have Hulu.
Yeah, it's $5 for a season on there, and you get, well, at least it's $5 for the first season. So
yeah, and we just finished season 2, but if you look through the seasons, you'll see that the characters change. Some of them disappear, some of them continue on, and then they're adding new characters.
Yeah.
The cool thing about the powers is it follows these kids doing community service, but other people got the powers as well. Some of them are hilarious. One of them, a guy thinks he's in a video game, kind of like Grand Theft Auto. It's freaking hilarious.
Nice.
It's one of the more violent episodes, so I guess that's maybe a commentary on video game violence. But it's hilarious, when they show his point of view, how it changes the people he's looking at into a Grand Theft Auto looking character, from 2009 or 2010. So, it's not quite the graphics we're used to today, but it's pretty funny. And cool. And other people have all these powers that they have to overcome. And besides them shooting themselves in the foot, they also have to, deal with other people and their power. So I highly recommend it. Like you said, it's 83% on Rotten Tomatoes, 8.3 on IMDb. So I'm not the only one that thinks it's great. In fact, some friends are the ones that pointed it out to us to say, hey, give this a try. It's really good. And they were correct. So check out Misfits.
Very cool. I'm going to add that to my list of things to watch because that looks kind of fun. Adding Misfits now. So, let's see. The show that I have been watching, I've talked about this show before, Person of Interest, has always been a big favorite of mine. I know Kip and his wife have never really gotten into it. It didn't really work for them. But I kind of like this technology espionage type show. I also like the idea of artificial intelligence. And this is artificial intelligence on a different level. So this is an artificial intelligence that's trying to, that's doing things for you. This is artificial intelligence. This is AI that is thinking, that is analyzing us. So this AI, through the first 4 seasons, has been, it started with the first couple seasons where there was just an AI that was basically predicting crimes to happen based off of certain situations, almost kind of like pre-crime, but it made more sense in how they were doing it. It was analyzing certain situations. So like if a guy had a certain number of things just kind of go wrong within his life, or you start seeing him, that person starts searching for, basically the same way we're trying to use counterintelligence to predict where a terrorist attack is going to happen here in the US. This AI was basically doing that. And through the first couple seasons, there was one AI. Then a group of another kind of different view people created another AI or stole another AI that didn't have the same sort of, not moral coding, but more moral compass. The idea of an AI is that it can be taught and it can learn from its own mistakes. It can learn what it's doing. And so this first one was kind of taught to, hey, every life is important and there's no such thing as sacrificing one to save many. So it kind of had a different approach. And in the last couple seasons, there's been an AI introduced that doesn't have that same mindset. And it's, you save the greatest number of people as you can. And if there is, so case in point, there was an aeronautics engineer, selling widgets, that has found a way to cut corners with this widget for airplanes to make them cheaper. He convinces one of the largest American airlines, not American Airlines, but American-owned airlines, let's not put that out there, to sign a contract to buy these widgets. Well, the machine has then predicted, the AI has predicted that because this is happening, there's going to be, millions of people die on plane crashes. The computer has run scenarios and predicted that there'll be 7 plane crashes during the life of that contract, which will cost hundreds of thousands of lives, if not millions of lives. So this group of people working for the machine have gone in and stopped this contract from happening. And so it's this idea, the concept of through the first 4 seasons, it was a balance of good and evil. Do you sacrifice one to save many, or do the ends justify the means type thing? Well, after season 4, this show was basically said they were not going. It was being canceled. With enough fan backlash, and I guess enough, I don't know, CBS giving them not really one more chance, but one more season to basically wrap up the series. So, which I think every show should have an ending set up so you can go from a beginning to an end. That's kind of the important thing about storytelling that some of these TV shows miss out on. So they decide to go one more season to where they can wrap up the threads, they can tie this thing together. And I'm about halfway through season 5. And some of the concepts that they bring up, and it's really kind of interesting the way they're playing this stuff back and forth between this machine that is basically like Gandhi in the sense that it's non-violent, not going to push back, basically just always doing the right thing no matter what the cost. Always doing the right thing. And then you have this other machine that is just full force, almost like bullying to get the ends that it wants. It doesn't matter how it gets to the end that's the best, it's going to get to that end. And where I'm at halfway through, they have these 2 machines basically going at each other. And it's interesting to watch that dynamic of should you, several times they've brought up, we need to teach the gentle machine how to push back. And the idea is that no, humans shouldn't do that. The AI is smart enough that if it feels it needs to push back, it will recode itself to be able to push back. You know, it will change its personality. And it kind of, if you think about it in this day and age where you have bullies in schools, and it just made me kind of think of this idea of the difference between defending yourself and doing the right thing. You know, if somebody's coming after you and trying to change, trying to bully you into doing something, is it better to fight back, or is it better to just keep doing what you know is the right thing to do, which is not give in to the peer pressure, not fight back, not go down to the bully's level. And it's kind of I love how they've done, and they've taken this larger concept, this real world, even just the sociology of what it is right now, what we're seeing right now with, the political elections, with everything that's going on. You have football players refusing to stand up for the national anthem because they feel like that's their way of expressing themselves and that they want to see change. And it's I just love how this thing has kind of taken on its social commentary all of its own. And whether they did this, whether they intended this from the beginning or not, it feels like this show has flown in that pattern. And I gotta say, if you haven't watched Person of Interest, the 5th season has ended up this year. So it's kind of like Misfits, where you can find all 5 seasons out there. I know you can find the first 4 seasons on Netflix, and I wouldn't be surprised if here soon you're going to see the 5th season on Netflix. So go check out Person of Interest if you're looking for another one of those shows that you can just binge watch the whole thing and be done with it. It's kind of cool. I like it.
Yeah, we stopped watching it after like 2 or 3 episodes because it kind of had the feel of Minority Report instead of having clairvoyance, I guess is the word. They had the machine, the algorithm. Sounds like it's gone a little bit different of a direction since then, but it does bring up a question that I've always had after watching Minority Report and what little of Person of Interest I did watch, and that is, do we have the right to stop somebody before they commit a crime, or do they have the right to commit the crime, but then they have to pay the price? And to me, that's something that I think Person of Interest and as well as Minority Report could have dealt with, but they really didn't.
Well, and Person of Interest does kind of touch on that because, a little bit on past where, you got to get a little bit into that first season because you start having these people second guessing on what they're doing. Should they be stopping these people? But really what Person of Interest really starts doing is they and this is where the first machine, they call it Machine, and then the second one is called Samaritan, where the Machine and Samaritan differs. Samaritan believes, yes, we have every right to stop somebody if that is the case, where the Machine goes with this mindset of, I'm going to give you all the information so that you can so that this is going to happen, but then it's up to you to decide, is this worth stopping? And the people that are helping the Machine, they don't ever stop a crime before it happens. They try to be there for when the crime does happen to save the person who is, the victim, to save the victim. So, you kind of get to that point where they're never given enough information for them to basically stop the crime before it ever happens and arrest anybody from before it happens, but they might be able to stop the death of somebody, be able to stop a murder, and instead a different crime is committed that, saves somebody's life. So but it is, you're right. That is a really fine line that Minority Report never touched on, because Minority Report was really, there was never a science to Minority Report, where Person of Interest has a clear, defined science of what it's doing. And as the seasons have gone on, they kind of explain a little bit more on why the Machine acts the way it does, and that it's basically becomes to, it's taught that human life is valuable and that no life should be sacrificed.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that. I mean, you could look at certain events that have happened in our history. Let's take the Kennedy assassination in '63. That's a good example. Stephen King even wrote a book called 11/22/63, where a guy can go back in time through this portal, and his goal, as given to him by another person, is to go back and make sure that Kennedy is not assassinated. And when you're reading the book, you're like, man, I really wish that could have taken place. But we already know that it would have happened, and we would be all for somebody going back in time and stopping it. My question is, though, what if you did go back in time and say you killed Lee Harvey Oswald and you just saved the President of the United States? Well, nobody knows that you actually did.
Right.
And you could actually be convicted of murder, maybe even put to death.
Right.
Even though you've done something historically significant.
Yeah,
but
you traded
because
your
it didn't
life.
Happen. Yeah, since it didn't happen, nobody knows that it was going to happen. And to me, that's that area that it totally messes with the mind,
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, Lee Harvey Oswald should have been stopped, but maybe he had the right to do what he did.
Right.
and he paid the price for it. But
he had the right to make the choice, and that everybody should be given. We live in a society of free will, or at least we like to think we live in a society of free will. And so you have the choice to commit a crime. If you want to commit a crime, you can. You have that right of free will to choose to do that. There are always consequences to those actions. And, it's definitely, and they kind of touch on that even a little bit more in season 5 of Person of Interest, the first couple of episodes, as they're having to rebuild the machine after the events of at the end of season 4, and they bring it back online, and all these people that have been helping, well, not all, because there's really only 3 of them. The 3 people that have been helping them out, or helping the machine out previously, it now looks at their history and goes, oh, these are bad people. Like, these people are not assets. These are criminals. Like, these are people who need to be, these are threats to humans. And it's the idea that, it just touches back on that same point that you just made, that, you, without knowing what has happened, without knowing the future, you can't, even if you stop a crime from happening, you can still be held to that level of, you've committed a crime. You shoot somebody even to protect somebody else, you've still committed a crime. You've still shot somebody. If you've prevented them from doing it, you don't know what would happen. You can't go back and say that. So it's great. I love the show. I like that mind trip idea of it. It's a show that I'm a big fan of, and so I just wanted to throw it out there. The 5th season's wrapped up, and I'm about halfway through with it. It's a shorter season than the others, so I think it's only 13 episodes. So I'm about halfway through, and I'm hoping to finish that up here in the next couple weeks because it's really good.
Well, it sounds like it's taking a direction that I would enjoy, so I'm gonna have to pick it up again and suck it up and get over my Minority Report all over again. I'll just have to get over that part of it. But I do love this conversation. I do love this. When do we do anything about a crime? Before it happens or after it happens? And I just love that conversation because it's easy to say, well, if we stop it before it happens, then we've just done something about it. But what if you have to commit a crime to stop another crime?
Yep.
And if you have to murder somebody to stop somebody else from murdering somebody, why is that first life less important than the second life? And oh yeah, it's a mind screw. It's just one of those conversations that there is no right answer. I don't think it just depends on your point of view, but a show that will deal with that, and I'm going to give Person of Interest another go.
Yeah, get through the first season because the first season is very cut dry. It's very, it's very bad guy of the week or bad guy of the episode type thing where it's like, oh, here's a number of somebody who's either going to be the killer or he's either going to commit the crime or they're going to be the victim of a crime. Then the heroes have to go in, figure out if they're going to be the persecutor or the victim, and then figure out how to stop or save as many people as they can in the process. And they run into, they walk that fine line, they cross over the line sometimes. But yeah, get through the first season. After that, you start seeing the dynamic of the people, and they start touching on a lot of different other topics. So, yeah, definitely check that one out. The other thing I want to throw out there is I am enjoying the hell out of Assassin's Creed Rogue. Loving this game. I've been still putting this out on the Geekvice Gaming. I just recorded some more episodes over the weekend, so I think we've got 10 episodes on the YouTube channel, and I've got 4 more in the bank. So they are a lot of fun. I'm enjoying them. I hope everyone else is enjoying them as well. Please, if you are liking these videos for Geekvice Gaming, please go like them on YouTube so that I know if I'm doing something good or not. Leave me some comments and let me know. Give me some feedback. Tell me what I need to do better. Or tell me if there's another game you'd like to see me play. I'm willing to go out and get some more games, get some newer games. And I'll play them on Geekvice Gaming. I'll try to get them out there. Next week, I want to throw out there, I think, Kip, you are out of town next week, right?
I am actually in town, but I'm going to be at an event.
Oh, right.
I'm going to be at Monday Night Raw at the Sprint Center. So, maybe I'll be able to do a live remote or something from my phone.
But Eddie was going to try to jump on, right? So that's still a plan?
I believe, as far as I know, it's still a go. He has.
All right, because I know Eddie has.
I have to remind him often, though.
Yeah, Eddie has this game out there called Nomansky. No Man's Sky, I think, is what they're calling it. Nomansky.
You threw me.
It's gotten a lot of ups and downs. It was really good before it came out. I think it was really good maybe the day it came out, and then it has dropped drastically. So I'm curious to hear what Eddie has to say about this game. So next week we are definitely going to be talking about that because I want to know all about that. But on the topic of video games and enjoying these things, PlayStation has announced, and this was a couple days ago, probably about a week ago, has announced that they are going to provide PlayStation 3 games to your Windows PC, which is shocking considering Windows is owned by Microsoft and Microsoft owns the Xbox, that they're going to be doing this because in theory I don't know, I guess maybe they're competing in the same sandbox as Microsoft, because Microsoft with Xbox One and the future Xbox iterations, they are saying that their games will be available on, if you download it on Xbox One, you can play that game on Windows 10 machines. So Sony is kind of doing the same thing and bringing you a PlayStation 3 library right now. And it's supposed to be out this fall. It's going to be tied through the PlayStation Now subscription, which has been around through PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4. PS Vita has had it. And it's, what is it, $20 a month? Is that what PlayStation Now is? Kip, do you have PlayStation Now?
You know what? I am unsure what the hell I have because their names are so similar. I get them confused, but I'm not paying $20 a month.
Okay.
I'm paying like $60 a year.
Oh, okay.
I think it's called PlayStation
View?
Play?
Yeah, I don't know. They got all kinds of things.
It's confusing as hell. It's the one with the yellow controller button. It's the yellow plus is what I call it. Yeah, when I read that, it said it was $20 a month. It's obviously not what I'm using because I would never pay $20 a month to play an old game. So
right.
Hopefully it works for them.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because I mean, if you're talking about a full catalog of PlayStation 3 and newer games, because I would want to see new games on here as well. The idea is that it's going to be kind of like Netflix is with movies and TV shows, and that you would be able to play this on any Windows machine. All you need is an internet connection. Sony does. They're in this article. It does say that Sony requires a solid 5 megabits per second connection, which most places can handle. You can get that with even your lowest. I think anything that's not dial-up, you can get that. So you've got that, and then it also the idea that you can play these games where it's not necessarily dependent on your gaming rig. So if you've got an older computer that might not be the most up to date with things, that it should still be able to play these games, kind of like you can watch, Netflix on anything that has you can watch a Netflix through a Wii, for God's sakes. It, I kind of like this idea. Now, the pricing model is going to be the tricky part, and it's got to be something that's worth getting into, because I'm not going to be paying my whatever it is, $50 or $60 a year for Xbox Live, and paying another fee on top of that just to play Sony games, when I can get most of the games through both devices. I don't know. It's interesting. I like the idea for it. To me, the bigger question that this brings up is, are we starting to look where PC gaming is becoming a little less trendy, a little less hipstery, and a little bit more mainstream? You're seeing things like esports taking a big rise in popularity, the streaming and sharing of videos like our Geekvice gaming site, and seeing the different streams on Twitch, popping up, is becoming more popular. And I know that consoles will do that stuff, but you've got a little bit more control on how that stuff is broadcast and how it's displayed if you're using a computer. So, I'm kind of wondering if maybe the consoles, I think we saw this in between the probably around the pre-N64, and maybe post-N64, but pre-PlayStation 2. You started seeing computer games become a little bit more popular again. The rise of things like StarCraft and Diablo, you caused, I think, an increase in computer sales. The computers, where it became cheaper, a little bit easier to manage. You could get a really good machine for less money than you could a console. And so I'm kind of curious to see if we're going to start seeing this, and if this is going to have an impact on the new consoles that are supposed to be coming out next year. Sony and Microsoft both have announced new consoles coming out. They're supposed to be backwards compatible, or at least Microsoft is supposed to be backwards compatible. So I'm just kind of curious to see if maybe this has some impact on it, and if these console markets are noticing this with the ease of things like Humble Bundle, where you can get stuff for super cheap, or Steam, where they have sales constantly, so you can get games a lot less expensive. And computers have become super cheap too. Hard drive space has become cheap. You can get 5 terabytes of hard drive for a couple $100. I mean, there's a lot of games. That's more hard drive space than you can get on any console. So,
yeah, that's what the problem I'm having with my console now is I've had it about 15 months.
yeah.
And I went to download something, and I put in a new game. It always does the downloadable content stuff, the updates and everything, and I ran out of space. And my console isn't old enough, in my opinion, to do that. I know they're trying to have it so you're downloading games more than getting the discs. At least that's what it seems like on PlayStation. By the way, it's PlayStation Plus that I have.
Yeah.
So hard drive space is a premium, and you can just get hard drive space on a laptop or a gaming desktop constantly. You can just be upgrading that stuff so much easier than you can on a console. So I could see why maybe console gaming is taking a hit. It is more of a pain. I mean, I had to go through and clean off a bunch of stuff. I had to make some tough decisions on some games. It's like, will I play this again? Whatever, and deleted it off the hard drive to make room for this newest game. You know, what am I going to do the next time I buy another game? Am I going to have to remove something else? It's crazy, and I know I can get I think you can. I think I could get a terabyte hard drive for my PS4.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's as easy as swapping out on a laptop.
Well, and a lot of, I mean, the advantage that was being had with the console market was that you didn't have to worry about upgrading your system. That when you bought the console would be good for the life of the console. You didn't, and that's where I think, if you're talking about having to swap out a hard drive or install a new hard drive into your console, how is your console any different than your computer? Because you can buy a new computer for a little bit more than what you paid your consoles anymore. I mean, how much was a PS4? $600?
I think I paid $400 for mine.
$400? All right. Yeah. $400 for that console. The laptop that I'm using to record the Geekvice gaming stuff was $1,000. So, a little bit more than twice that, but I have, I've got 3 times the storage space that you've got, because I've got 3 terabytes of data just of storage space on my laptop. That's not including the 4 terabytes I have sitting on the server up there. That's just a lot more space to store these games, and the ability. So like with Steam, I can turn stuff on and off on a whim. Like I can uninstall a game. I still have all my save data there. It keeps it all in the spot that I need it. But I can uninstall a game if I don't want that game on my system anymore, and then I can just install it right back with a click of a button, and it says, "Oh, there you go," loads it all back up, and I'm good to go. You don't have to worry about deleting stuff off of there, and that's where I think these consoles have. I'm wondering what they've done and how this is going to impact them. I'm really, there for a while. I was a big computer gamer. I played a lot of StarCraft, a lot of Diablo when those games first came out. Huge fans of those. Played Counter-Strike, Half-Life, Unreal Tournament, all that stuff from the late 90s, early 2000s. I played the hell out of those things. And then I got a PlayStation 2. And the PlayStation 2 kind of made it easier for me. I didn't have to worry about Windows ME, which sucked, which I did have on my computer the computer that I bought had ME on it, and I uninstalled it, formatted everything, and installed Windows 95 because that worked better. So you didn't have to worry about that. You didn't have to worry about compatibility and whether or not your video card was up to date or anything like that, because things were changing so quickly that time. So I went away from computer gaming, went to the consoles, PlayStation 2, Xbox 360. I was console market all the way through that. And then, before the Xbox One came out, I needed to get a new computer, and because of Windows 10, and actually, I think it was before that, they stopped servicing Windows XP. So I needed a new computer, so I went and bought me a new computer. I bought this gaming laptop, and just the ability to be able to, I don't have to worry about what game it is I need to get, whether it's compatible, and whether it's like, oh, I can play, oh, this game is available for the Xbox One, but not for the 360. Well, it's all available for my computer. I can play a Xbox 360 game. I could play a PlayStation 3 game. Hell, I'm playing Final Fantasy VII on my computer, which is a PlayStation 1 game. I don't even own a PlayStation 1. So, that was a thing that's just kind of brought me back to PC gaming, and I'm wondering if Sony is seeing this coming and is trying to latch onto this as well. So,
yeah, I'm curious as well. I'm really curious to see, say, like a game like Call of Duty, what the amount of users is for that game, because there's a lot of times when I get on Call of Duty to play, and your best bet to get into a game is to play Team Deathmatch. There's other games that I'd like to try, other types of games like Fracture and things like that hardly anybody's in the room.
Yeah.
And it makes it very, very tough. And I just wonder if everybody is playing the PC version, or if there's just not that many people playing anymore. I don't know. It's very frustrating. And I'm curious. Just have they gone to PC? Are they all on Xbox? They're definitely not in PS land, because you open it up, it says 34% of the users are doing Team Deathmatch, and then there'll be certain games where there's 0%. And it's like, well, right, that's the game I wanted to play. So thanks. I wonder where these people are.
Yeah.
Is Call of Duty just worn out their welcome, or are they playing on PC, or what the heck's going on? I'd be curious to find out.
Yeah, I would too. I would too. I mean, and I think some of this also is, I would like to see the console wars go away. I would like to see, you're starting to see it a little bit where Sony was trying to do cross-platform gaming. Microsoft has finally got into this idea that they can do cross-platform. I would love to see them start getting along with each other, letting people enjoy the games and be able to play together on these multiplayer games. I mean, why can't you have a Call of Duty, multiplayer where you have PlayStation 4 players, Xbox One players, and PC gamers all together playing and enjoying the game their own way? And I know there's logistics behind it that prevent that, from really working out well. But there's got to be ways to make it work, because there's games that want to do it, and there's games that have tried to do it. I mean, you and I played Rocket League, and I was playing on the computer, and you were playing on your PS4. We actually played with Eddie, and I think we played with Doug too, didn't we?
I think there was quite a few of us that were PS4 friends that were in that game with you on your PC.
Yeah, and so, I would like to see more of that. I mean, I'd like to see this idea that Sony and Microsoft, they can still compete against each other to get you to buy their console and buy their product based off of exclusives, or that this console has this many teraflops, which I really don't know what that means. But Microsoft touted it in their last conference, or whatever it is, to sell their console. But then there's no reason why the consoles can't still get along and still be able to play together, so that when the games come out, everybody can enjoy playing the games, and we can have the gaming industry still just be that much stronger. So I don't know.
I don't know, man. I'm like I said, I'm curious to see where all the users are, because they're not playing on PS4 right now.
Well, I'll tell you what, everybody. Email us at geekvice@gmail.com and let us know where you're playing Call of Duty, or what game are you playing now that Kip needs to be playing, that he needs to get up to date. He needs a first-person shooter as his cup of tea, so, point him in the right direction. Tell him where all the people are playing so he can go play with you. That sounded awful.
That did sound pretty bad. I will not play with you, but I will game with you.
There you go. So, all right, everybody. That's going to be the show tonight. We've gone a little bit longer than I anticipated, but we had some good topics. Check out our blog at geekvice.blogspot.com. You can check us out on Facebook and Google+, facebook.com/geekvice to get you there. You can follow us on Twitter. You can follow that man at Kip Killigan. You can follow me at Geekvice. And, of course, you can go check out our podcast network at facebook.com/thepodcastarcade, or in the near future, check out thepodcastarcade.com. Thanks, everybody, for listening to our ramblings, and please send us an email. Let us know what you think about the console war. Are PCs taking over, or do you think the console market is still increasing? And let us know what TV shows that we need to go catch up on. Do you guys have a cult favorite that you're watching? Kip's enjoying Misfits. I'm enjoying Person of Interest. What are you guys watching? What do you want us to go check out? And what do you think we should be seeing? Email us those ideas and suggestions and comments at geekvice@gmail.com. And on that note, we will see you later.
Out of here. Later.